Knicks have made it to the second round of the playoffs for the second straight year, something they haven't done since 1999 and 2000. Joining me now is the pre- and post-game host for the New York Giants, but he also covered the Knicks for a long time at WFAN. John Schmeelk, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, good to be with you, man. How are you? Always fun to talk Knicks at this time of year.
Oh, and it's a great time of year. So, John, how were the Knicks able to pull this off against Joel Embiid and the 76ers, who have been a mainstay in the playoffs over the last 7 years?
Well, it's the same way they've really done it all year. This team has the personality of their coach, Tom Thibodeau. Frankly, they oftentimes just outwork their opponents, and I think we saw that in the series. The Knicks in nearly all the games had a really big edge on the offensive glass. They played very good defense. They have a team of guys that get along and play well as a group. But then most importantly, they have Jalen Brunson, who is really proven to be a true superstar. He's a number one option, and he, basically first player since Michael Jordan to go four straight games with over 30 points in the playoffs. So Jalen Brunson's been a true superstar, and he's carrying them offensively.
Now, when I think of the Knicks and the Pacers in the conference semifinals, I can't help but think of Reggie Miller taking down the Knicks in 1995, unfortunately. Who are the most dangerous players on the Pacers here in 2024, and what will the Knicks do to slow them down?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm with you. I harken back to the 90s, too, and those two teams met 6 times in the 90s, each team winning 3 of those series. And as many times as Reggie Miller killed the Knicks, it was the Knicks that also beat Miller. And I think Tyrese Halliburton is the guy that Knicks fans are going to circle in this series as the guy that's going to be their nemesis. Now, the factor with him, he was on pace to be a potential All-NBA player. Then he hurt his hamstring mid-year, sat out some time, came back, but has not been the same player since. So he's going to have to play a lot better than he did against the Bucks in round 1 and better than he did at the end of the year if the Pacers are going to figure out a way to win this series. Then you have Pascal Siakam. He's kind of their number 2. The Knicks have a good defensive matchup with him, though, and OG Anunoby. So those are the 2 big players the Knicks are going to have to look out for in this series, with Halliburton really being public enemy number 1.
And in terms of style and of play, the Knicks and Pacers are 2 very different teams. The Pacers are more aggressive on offense. They love to score. The Knicks are more focused on defense and like to take things slow. How might that play out over the course of the series?
Yeah, absolutely. The Pacers want to run. They want to play in transition. They want to shoot a lot of threes. They were a bottom third defensive team in the league this year in the NBA. The Knicks, on the other hand, just like they did against Philadelphia, are going to want to grind this out. They can push the ball. They can hit some threes, but they're going to play in the half court. They're going to offensive rebound. They're going to drive to the rim. So I think how they handle keeping the Pacers out of transition will be a big key in this game. The Knicks like to crash the boards, grab offensive rebounds, but that does leave you susceptible to the Pacers getting out in transition and running. So how that balances out, I think, will be very important. If the Knicks can keep this series more of a slow, grinded-out affair, which most of these playoff games end up becoming, I think they'll have the advantage.
And, John, you touched on him before, but Jalen Brunson had a lot of naysayers when he first came to the team last year. A lot of sports analysts didn't think he'd have what it takes to be on this team. It's safe to say he's proven them wrong thus far. Can you talk about what he's meant to the team?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, when they signed him a couple off seasons ago, thought it was a massive overpay. And I always thought that was ridiculous, but I don't even think the Brunson optimists like me thought he would develop into a potential first-team All-NBA player, which he'll only be 5th or 6th in that ballot. There's a chance he's going to be a top 5 MVP candidate this year. He could be top 5 in MVP voting. So he's a guy that really has been the Knicks' best player since Patrick Ewing. He's probably the Knicks' best guard since point guard since Walt Clyde Frazier. And that's saying a lot. And he has the personality too, right? He's a guy that, doesn't jump the highest, isn't the fastest, isn't the biggest, but he figures out a way to score. He has that chemistry with his Villanova teammates, Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, and he's just figured out a way to get it done. And late in games, he's put this team on his back and really brought them home.
And lastly, head coach Tom Thibodeau has been with the team since 2020. His contract runs through next season. That would put him at 5 years with the team. Now, the last time the Knicks had a head coach for that long, you have to go back to Jeff Van Gundy, who coached from 96 to 01. So my question is, how important is it for an NBA team to stick with the same guy in order for the team to be successful?
Yeah, especially if it's the right guy. And I think that's the key, right? I mean, you can have a bad coach and stick with him. It's not going to help you. But once you find the right coach, you should stick with them, even through some bad times. Remember, 2 years ago, the Knicks were coming off that really surprising year in the COVID year. The next year, they had a disappointing season. But they stuck with Tom Thibodeau, and there were some fans and analysts that were calling for him to be fired, and they stuck with him, and it's paid off. You mentioned they got to the second round last year, lost to the Heat in a highly contested series. Here to the second round again. And I think what's really made it work, and you got to give credit to general manager Leon Rose, right, who has worked in tandem with Tom Thibodeau to put a team together that matches the way he wants to play, his play style, and just the way he wants his team to play on the floor. They're all tough. They don't give up. Things go bad, they bounce back the following game. They're junkyard dogs. They share the ball. They play defense. They grind every game out. And that's what Tom Thibodeau demands. Ultimate effort from his players on the game during the week. And that's what this team gives him. And having him here and developing this culture has really been a difference maker, something the Knicks really haven't been able to do since Jeff Van Gundy was here in the late 90s when the Knicks were playing the Pacers on a regular basis in the playoffs. So it'll be a good renewal of the City guys versus the Hicks rivalry, and it'll be fun to see how this series plays out.
Well, hopefully the result of this next series against the Pacers is nothing like 1995. John Schmeelk, thanks so much for coming on, and I hope to talk to you soon, brother. Thanks again. Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Happy to be with you.
Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.
Summers in New Jersey were made to wow you. From sun and wows to fun and wows and every wow in between. So come see what your wow's gonna be. New Jersey. It's one wow after another, after another, after another. You get it. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey. Little state, lot of wow.
Since 1994, one name has echoed through the courts, fields, and arenas of New Jersey: Jersey Sporting News. As a credentialed media outlet with over 25 years of experience, we've earned accolades from those we cover at every level. Jersey Sporting News, celebrating New Jersey sports for over 2 decades, and we're just getting started. Let JSN become a member of your family.